Good day to everybody in TV land. This is Mike Hitter with Historic Point Basse Update, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we've done in just this past week and what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. And with me this morning is Tom Brehmer. Welcome, Tom.
Good morning.
And I have to mention Tom's birthday was yesterday, and happy birthday to you, Tom.
Thank you.
Those milestones in our life that we enjoy and sometimes don't enjoy, and so one of those things. Yeah, it's just a number. So in 1947, his mom and dad were real surprised with a little baby. So,
Yeah.
so we're going to talk a little bit right now about our ice harvest that was at Lake Nepco, a part of the Port Edwards Lions fishery, and I'd like to thank again the Port Edwards Lions for including us in that for the last probably 6 years or so, and it's been a great boon for us, because it gets the public onto a public space. Part of the problem in the past is we had it on a private pond or on the cranberry marsh, which isn't conducive to inviting the public for space limitations, liability, and everything else. So we're very happy to have to be a part of the Port Edwards Lions fishery, and I think hopefully we add a little bit to them, and certainly they draw a lot of people on their own. So Tom, a little update, how you think it went, the thickness of the ice and all those good things?
Well, we were about 18 to 20 inches, I think, trimmed down to about 16 or so. We took the top so much off of where it had
crusty,
frozen and thawed.
I was somebody had come in the store today and was saying that they were quite surprised at how thick it was, because we had 4 or 5 days below zero, but not a lot of it, but we didn't have any much snow cover.
No, that really helps. And we shoveled our area off, our field, starting close to January 1st. We didn't get there quite that early this year, but we had 15 inches 2 weeks before we cut. And like I say, it was closer to 20. And we kept it shoveled off pretty well, so it worked out well. Actually, the guys, the volunteers, I mean, we were almost overrun.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
That's a good thing to happen.
I mean, yeah, how do you complain about such a great thing? But we had guys there that have been here with us in the past. Some of them were brand new, a couple of them were new. And everybody just lent a hand and jumped right in, and wow, it worked really well. Almost too fast.
Yeah.
We're going to try and slow it down so we are there longer next
we
year.
apologize to some of the public. We advertised we're there from 9 to 2. We're actually probably only cutting till 11:30, maybe 12 at the latest. Next year we're going to start at 10 a.m., the same hours as the fishery. They're 10 to 3. We're going to go 10 to 3, and we're going to stagger our cutting and run one truck down and then unload it and run that truck back, where we've had 2 or 3 trucks going. And of course, once those blocks start coming out of the lake, it just kind of rolls on its own. So next year we're going to stagger our cutting crews, so we'll have like 4 or 5 of us there at 10, and then we'll have another crew at 11, so we'll slow it down a little bit, and then hopefully that'll help the public, because some of the public come out to see this, and unfortunately we're done cutting out of the lake. They can practice, the kids can practice. Skip Johnson is there and does a good job of showing the people what we do, and then they'll take the trim saw and cut a few blocks and that sort of thing, so they've got some idea of it. But it's more fun, I think, if they can see us actually cutting in the lake, and so we'll try to correct that for next year.
But otherwise, we put in 48 blocks in the ice house. We have a bigger ice house now than we used to. Second year, I think we filled the new one. Then we put in 3 trailer loads of sawdust. I have no idea how much weight that is, but it's a lot. It's a lot of sawdust, and it worked out just about right. With the extra ice, we were able to fill up. We keep more mass that way. We're hoping it'll last a little longer.
Yeah, and I think this year, Tom, I think normally we put up about 4 block high. This year we did 5 blocks high, which is about 6 feet high. And I think with the extra mass and then a foot of sawdust above that and around it, I think we'll keep real well this year.
I'm quite sure, yeah. And as we take it out, we leave the sawdust in there, so actually the covering gets thicker as we use ice. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, and like again, yesterday we had 5 volunteers out there for 3 hours working. Some were doing some other maintenance work, but 4 of us loading sawdust. And
2 hours, we pretty much had it done.
It was, and we didn't kill ourselves doing it. So
right. We got a new method, but we won't quite explain that to you.
It's
here.
a little modern,
Yes.
so we'll leave that. But, when we always are looking for new volunteers, but we are so blessed to have the ones that we have, and they are so good workers, and they're fun to be around.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is like events such as the ice harvest, we have volunteers that come forward that some of those people see once or twice a year.
Yep.
And they'll maybe come to the festival and help out or do something like that, but maybe we don't see them the rest of the year. And so they kind of come at specific times when they feel that they can be of use, and they certainly are. And it worked out really well, because I think at one time I counted, and I left early, I left about 10 o'clock. I think there was 20 people on the ice there.
Yeah, we started hauling. You and I went down to take that first load down. I mean, it was crowded. They were standing in line to cut.
Yeah, because I know when we were just leaving, Pat Roosh was coming in, a number of other people were coming in, and that's what we hope to do next year, but have maybe 4 or 5 and then stagger it, 4 or 5 new ones come in, and so we can slow it down a little bit and give the public a little more perception of what we're doing and a better idea. But we're going to talk mostly today about our Historic Point Basse's Winter Feast. Now that's the only event other than the ice harvest that's held off-site. That's at the KC Hall at Highway 73 to the west. And that's kind of a compilation of something the Wakeleys would have done. We've read about some of the cotillions that Robert and Mary Wakeley had. It was reported in the newspaper about in the middle or end of February, where people were getting kind of cabin fever, wanted to get out, and so they invited neighbors from near and far, and they came there, and they had some great food, they had some dancing, they had some enjoyable times together visiting, and the reports in the newspaper where everybody had a grand time and left either that night or the next morning and went home, and it was the talk of the town, so to speak. And so we're trying to recreate that. This is an event that we used to do before Christmas, early December, but because the calendars for most people are kind of bunched up there and there's too much going on, we spread it out and we put it into February. And it's been a great success for us putting it into February. And it's $15 for a ticket, and that includes all you can eat. And Tom will go through the menus and he'll explain what we're having. It'll be a great time for anybody. We got entertainment, we got music. We're going to have a great evening. Starts at 4 o'clock with gathering. We have some hot apple cider and some summer sausage and some cheese trays and that sort of thing, just to kind of mingle with the people and get feeling part of the festivities. And then Stella and her gals do a great job with their baskets. There's some baskets you can buy chances on, and very reasonable if you'd like to do that. Certainly you're welcome to do that. We've got a little bit of a new thing this year because we have a hard time preparing for the numbers we have sometimes. If you come to the KC Hall without pre-ordering your tickets or having them reserved or picking them up in advance, it'll be $17. We're just trying to get a better handle on how many people, so we know how much to prepare for this. And so sometimes we're real surprised. I remember probably 3 years back, I kept going to the kitchen asking Tom, there's 3 more people, we got enough food? And we kept setting up more tables, and after a while, it's probably not good after a certain point, but we certainly welcome anybody that would like to come. But Tom, you want to go a little through the menu and our entertainment?
Yeah, menu this year is, it changes every year because we kind of have to go with what we are donated, especially on the wild game. We'll do roast chicken, as we have always done. And that's with the mashed potatoes and the dressing and the whole bit, homemade gravy. We're going to do some roast buffalo. That is a new dish being roasted the way we're going to do it this year. That should be excellent.
What do you roast it with, Tom, or how do you prepare something like that?
We brown the meat and then roast it on Friday, and then cool it, and Saturday morning slice it, and then put it back in a little bit of gravy
Baby
made
sauce.
from the juice, and then simmer that during the day. So it'll be falling apart tender. We're also going to have rabbit a la king with some little baking powder biscuits.
Okay.
That's always been a popular thing. Rabbit's been really good as a seller. A lot of people are not quite as adventuresome as others, when it comes to that. But rabbit is pretty much middle of the road kind of. It's not too adventuresome.
And I remember when we were kids,
chicken,
kids in the city, and we raised rabbits at home, as many families did. Had a couple hutches and raised some rabbits at home, and it was fairly common. And like you say, it's pretty much like chicken. It's very tame, tasty.
It's good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not an adventuresome thing.
And you're doing a little something new with the sauerkraut this year. So sauerkraut's prepared during our harvest fair in the fall. Jim Giese and his family helped prepare that. We go over and I tamp down for a little while and cut a few cabbages, but really it's the Giese family that does it. And we've got a 5-gallon crock worth of it, and we fermented it and aged it, and then we froze it. But Tom, you want to tell, we got a couple different ideas this year.
We've got some new stuff coming up with the sauerkraut. Rather than pork and kraut, for instance, we're going to do raccoon and kraut.
Oh,
it's very much the same.
They're both fatty meats.
Yeah, and we're going to roast the coon separately, and then after it's done, mix it into the kraut and then heat it up. We've got, I think, 4 raccoons.
So you should have a good amount.
Oh, yeah.
Because you do about half of the kraut that way.
Right. And then the other half we will do more of a vegetarian thing, and we're thinking apples and cranberries.
Oh yeah, seasonal
with,
sort of things.
Yeah, a little bit of a brown sugar, mix it in. We tried it at home when Woody was here for the Spirit Walk. I experimented on a member from out of town, and he really thought that was really good. So we're going to kind of play with that.
In the past we've had sometimes kraut with caraway. Tom and I are both not big fans of caraway, so it's a kind of a cook's choice.
Yes, we've kind of worked on this different times, and what we kind of do is, okay, if you're going to take care of this, all right, you run with it. Our turtle stew last year was a prime example. We had one of my sister-in-laws came in. She was interested in doing it, and one of the gals that's very much in the planning of this, and she are good friends too. So she came in and made the turtle stew, and it was a hit. I mean, that's really good.
And we love that too.
Yeah. We're also going to do venison cabbage rolls, the old-fashioned Polish with the rice. We're going to do some brown white rice and some wild rice in there. Strictly wild rice, besides being terribly expensive, is a little strong.
For a lot of people's palate.
A lot of people's, including my own. And so we're going to cut it with brown rice about 50-50 so that it's a little milder, and then you can taste the meat.
I think a lot of people, if they've had wild rice before, prefer the blends.
Yes.
Straight wild rice, I agree with you. It's okay, but I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to eat it by itself.
It's a little intense.
Yes.
Yeah. We've also got some home-cooked squash that was donated to us. We grew beans in our garden last year at the site. We forgot to pick those.
We're going to
pick
get
them up
yesterday.
In the warehouse yesterday.
Yes.
We'll do it next week. They're drying in the warehouse, and we'll use those dried beans for a Boston baked bean kind of recipe. In fact, I just found it this morning. I couldn't find on my computer where I had hid it, but when I looked on the recipes, there it was. Son of a gun!
Yeah.
How does the guy get so dumb he doesn't look there first? But it's a good homemade baked bean recipe that takes all day, and we'll do it in a ceramic pot. So I mean, it's going to be very old-fashioned.
Will you have potatoes again, Tom?
Oh, mashed potatoes and gravy, yeah. Dressing, homemade dressing. We'll do pickles and cranberry sauce and some of the quick breads, the cranberry bread, that sort of thing, and regular rolls.
And the creme de creme is the dessert that's your specialty?
Bread pudding, we're working on that. It'll be a big thing that we've done it at every winter feast we've ever had. Now that's, what, 20, more than 20, not 25,
right,
that we've done these things.
Some years we did a baked apple too, or something like that.
We used to do baked apples and bread pudding, and many wanted both, and that's fine too. We've gone now with bread pudding and a sheet cake, because not everybody likes it.
Yeah, I was surprised the last few years we've had a sheet cake, and that sheet cake disappeared. I was pleasantly surprised. I kind of thought, well, bread pudding or sheet cake,
Yeah, I know where my allegiances are,
right,
because I can eat sheet cake anytime.
Right.
But Not everyone cares for it, so we try to do that. We're going to have music.
You got a group out of, what is it, Shawano area? Or?
Yeah, Clintonville, New London, I guess it is. That area. They're called 50% Folk, 3 guys and a gal. They have performed with us before at our site and at our winter feast. They're very good. They are not historically correct, if you wish, but it's folk music and a little towards country. It's very good to listen to, and they're very good. They're funny.
And
they're good entertainers.
They'll be playing, like shortly after 4 for the gathering time, and then also after we're done eating, then they'll pick up and start playing again. And then a special treat for us, and what we haven't done for a couple of years, is do a little contra dancing.
Yes. Contra dancing or country dancing was very popular in the 17 and 1800s. Came from England and France originally, and then kind of was adapted to American tastes. Virginia Reel is one of the things that people have probably heard of. And then we're also going to try a French-Canadian thing called paddle dance.
It's kind of where you got 2 people come to the center, and there's somebody standing with a paddle, and then they pass off the paddle to take the dance with one of those partners.
Yeah, and then that one with the paddle gets 2 partners up from the opposite line. It's so simple, but it's fun.
Yes.
It's a good icebreaker kind of thing.
It's a sort of thing, actually, that they would have done during the Wakely's time.
Oh, yeah.
Because, folks, you've got to know that during the Wakely's time, people didn't have much time to get together and everything. When after the harvest and maybe at this time of year, they got together, and this was an icebreaker in a way for young people to meet each other. Yep. And how else are they going to meet each other other than maybe at church or something like that? Because everybody's kind of on their own farm, and they're doing their own thing, and they got plenty of chores, and they're working 16 hours a day, that sort of thing. So this was a time when they got together and kind of maybe sparked a little romance, possibly.
And there's no footwork involved.
No.
I say that because we're going to encourage, well, thank goodness, because most of us we wouldn't be able to anyway. But we're going to encourage those that come, if they wish to come and dance. We need about 8 to 10 couples in each line of that, and if we had 2, fine. If we only have 1, okay too. But it isn't the kind of thing to be afraid of, because there's no. It's more like square dancing in the hand gestures, the 2-hand turn, the element left, do-si-do, that sort of thing.
The beauty of it is you have a couple couples that are experienced up front, and you watch them, and by the time your turn comes, you're maybe 4th or 5th couple. Yeah. You've seen it 4 or 5 times. You kind of know how it goes, and if not, they'll help you. So. And
we walk through it once each time anyway. It's going to be really interesting this year, because we have a new caller.
Yes.
And I ain't never done that before. But I've got to sit down. We have a couple of people who do not wish to call, but are square dancers. And I've kind of got it down, but I got to sit down with a couple of our folks and make sure I've got this lined up.
So 50% folk will play the
real music. In fact, Dean and I were on the phone yesterday. And he said, well, how about this song? And I go, yeah, I'm not much of a musician, but he was thinking of the tempo. Yeah. It was supposed to be, according to what I researched, a reel with a moderate beat. It means nothing to me. It did to him.
Right.
Because he's a musician.
Sure.
But we'll end the evening with the dancing about 8 o'clock. 4 to 8 is the fastest 4 hours of my life each year.
Yes.
It's holy mackerel, where to go.
Yeah, of course we start on Friday prepping.
Thursday, actually.
Thursday, and then Friday prepping the food and getting things that we can get done that day, or slicing and peeling the potatoes or whatever it might be. And then Saturday actually putting it all together so that it'll be ready for you we usually have people sit down about 10 to 5, and then at 5 o'clock, we do a few announcements and a grace, and then we start people out going through the line. And the beauty of it, folks, is it's all you can eat. And for $15 plus entertainment, it's the best bargain around.
It is. It is.
Yeah, we used to do this at the old Beer and Community Hall that was up right by the mill there. Very conducive to what we did at that time.
Yes.
Ethel Buzza was one of our head cooks and everything, and that old crew that she had. And of course, that was all wood interior. And then when you'd go downstairs once in a while, you'd see that old two-lane bowling alley or whatever they had in the basement there. Of course, that's torn down. They got a new Beer and Community Hall now. But the Casey Hall works very well for us, and they've got great kitchen facilities, and we're happy to be there. So that works all good. So that'll be on February 14th. That's a Saturday. Great time for you gentlemen out there that want to do something special for the love of your life, to invite them to come out and have a nice evening, and early retiring so that you'll be home by a quarter after 8:30, so it isn't going to be a long evening. A lot of fun. You can invite some friends. We've had people in the past have Christmas parties or other people that they wanted to get together. We've had some people come in blocks of 8 and reserve tickets.
A birthday one year that it was one of the couples, and so they got like 4 other couples, and they came as the birthday party, and it was kind of themed. They dressed as appropriately as they could, and not that you have to, you can though.
Right.
And they did, and they had a great time. It was kind of a party inside a party. Yeah. And that was fun.
Yeah, and we encourage you, if you want to dress up a little bit, a little square dance-ish, or if you've got the proper costumes to dress, mid-1800s, but it's not necessary at all. I mean, people come in all walks of life. The beauty of it, and kind of interesting to me, Tom, is that we have about 50% of the people that come every year, or basically every year. Yeah. And then there's about 25% that come every second or third year, and then there's about 25% that are brand new. So it's a nice mix, about 150 people for the evening, somewhere between 140 and 160. So it's a nice crowd, and be surprised how if you sit down next to somebody, all of a sudden you become knowing people in common, and all of a sudden you get to be fast friends, and it's a great time for everybody. So
there's 2 kinds of people: your friends and the friends you haven't met yet.
Yes,
and that's about the way it works at the Winter Feast. I mean, it is it's a party, so there's we're all supposed to smile.
Right. So that's, folks, February 14th, tickets through membership. Different members have tickets. Otherwise, at Family Natural Foods, you can call in, reserve your tickets, or you can pick them up in advance. So certainly, we encourage that. $15. If you come to the door that evening, we welcome that also. That'll be $17, a little change this year, just so we can get a better count on producing the food and everything. The KC Hall is just over the viaduct on Highway 73 West, and certainly invite you to come out and have a great time with everybody on the Winter Feast. So thanks for listening today, and we'll see you next month. Thanks, Tom.
Yep, we'll see you.